All right, what's going on, everyone? This is Ernest Dove from the New York Mets Dove Report. It's time for an immediate reaction to the New York Mets trade of Jeff McNeil to the something Athletics for a low minors pitcher. I want to get into some of my thoughts on it, talk about Jeff McNeil, my history with Jeff McNeil, maybe get some of the small insight on the new kid on the block that we're getting that I'm able to hug for probably multiple years because it's probably going to take a while. I'll get into that. I also spoke or communicated briefly with a Mets source. I wanted to get some form of reaction. I technically got one that is very small. I'll bring that up in the show, but let's get going. Let's start with my man, Jeff McNeil, one of my favorites, of course, over the years. Many moons ago, I obviously covered him at Clover Park, watching him play for the St. Lucie Mets when he was a lot skinnier. Little skinny Jeff McNeil was playing all around the diamond. He was playing shortstop. He was bunting for hits, trying to get his singles when he could. I used to, at that point, project Jeff McNeil as a future super utility guy, 25th man. I believe that was before the 26 man thing became a thing. That was my projection, which of course Jeff McNeil exceeded all of my expectations by turning into a batting champion who played as an everyday player, obviously. Finally moving to the outfield a little bit, showing his versatility. Going back in time again, I interviewed Jeff McNeil, very kind to me over the years. We communicated back and forth privately. He also publicly shared a post that I had made years ago on behalf of a friend who was putting on a holiday event that I hosted, which was for foster kids in South Florida. Jeff was happy to do it. He was even kind of nervous, kind of asking me, can you just basically give me the post and I'll post it, so that he wanted to say all the right things in the post years ago. Thank you forever for that, Jeff McNeil. It was a great event, by the way. Shout out to you for even being part of that and even kind of promoting it as you did. As far as the trade itself, obviously we're getting a kid. Looking at the initial reports, Yordan Rodriguez is soon to be 18, but he's only a 17-year-old kid. For a kid who, when you get selected or when you get picked signing as an IFA kid, at that age, that's actually good and young for a pitcher. Sometimes they sign pitchers 18 or even 19 years old in the international classes. So for them to sign this kid already from this last previous draft class, to sign at your normal 16-ish, 17-year age, that also says a lot about a kid, as well as the things that you can't teach physically. For a kid already to be an estimated height of over 6 foot up to 6'3", and topping 92, 93, and maybe topping 95 recently in the last kind of year since joining the Athletics, you can't teach 6'3" and 95 at 17 years old, soon to be 18. Those are the obvious positives. How they even come up with a player like this, I would guess that it would be something about, again, scouts. There's scouts all over the place. Mets under Steve Cohen have added so many resources over the years, including more minor league resources. So you have to think maybe some of the scouts, the Mets, they have locations in the DR among other places. So if some of the academies, they may have some scouts like us prospect huggers, they play favorites. Maybe they weren't able to grab a kid. Here they are getting the kid later on now as a form of draft rather than being able to sign him to begin with. So again, I believe all good signs to this, but it's going to take a while. Was this a salary dump? That's going to be an interesting question. I'm seeing the initial numbers. Everybody's seeing the initial numbers pop out. First, it looks like the Mets were saving like $10 million out of the 15 plus. Then somebody's mentioning this kind of $2 million kind of option, kind of buyout situation. So maybe if you add it all up, the Mets might overall be paying about half his remaining contract, which, by the way, we're talking about Jeff McNeil, the rental. I make my jokes even online on X about guys who are rentals, even the superstars like a Scooble. Jeff McNeil is a rental. This is his final year. The last highest tenured guy left, I guess, on a certain level is now gone, which is also maybe not great for fandom in the Mets, or for Mets fans. I myself, as a prospect hugger, to see all these guys go from minor leagues to the team multiple years to all start moving, especially in the same offseason, it's kind of hard for me to swallow as well. I don't really like seeing so many guys like this gone. We like following our guys even beyond the stats and the box scores, seeing the same names year after year. For me, from A-ball until now, it's always a pleasure. But you have to overall be okay with the move, which I've been saying for weeks. It was going to happen. It didn't take a rocket scientist to know that. Once Semien was signed, it was already over. Polanco was icing on the cake. There was absolutely no room for McNeil on the roster. Based on whatever the thoughts are or the feelings are about his shoulder at this point, there was already talk. David Stearns publicly before this trade, which is why GMs do GM stuff and front offices do front office speak. He was still obviously talking about Jeff McNeil being with the organization, but he did kind of at least say it may not have been too likely that Jeff McNeil was going to see center field in a Mets uniform in 2026. So you have to think if he wasn't going to play center, he really wasn't going to be an almost everyday left fielder anyway. So there was no room for him on the roster. Would I have loved for Jeff McNeil to be traded for a pen arm perhaps or something major league ready? Yes. Again, when it comes to a lottery ticket IFA signing, it is what it is. I mentioned on X, it's like our version of the Jeremy Rodriguez for Tommy Pham trade all over again. This is what we're getting. This is what you hope for the best. But overall, good move overall. You have to see it. They had to move on with Jeff. I don't really know about all the circus stuffs, the cancer talk, the clubhouse stuff. I don't know any of that. I did message one of my Mets sources for a reaction. They basically just said all positive things. Good guy, really good ball player. We liked having him. It was all positive. There was good stuff about Jeff McNeil. He's an emotional guy. That's stating the obvious. I can say it as much as any source, obviously. We all see it on SNY all the time. But again, he was also a kind-hearted soul. And the Mets source agreed with me. He lived and breathed baseball, so that was legit. Maybe the reasoning why he took everything so hardly and so hard on himself every single day is because he just wants to play baseball. That's his dream. He's living his dream. He's going to go all out no matter what. Mets, athletics, anywhere he goes for the rest of his time. He's going to work his butt off. Even the Mets organization agrees. I agree. Overall, you have to accept the trade. What's going to happen next? Do they still have to move on from a Mark Vientos and or Luisano Acuna? Because again, I still feel like ultimately way too many guys in the same exact spots. You can probably at least squeeze Acuna in at the end of the day off the bench as a 26-man because of his versatility, playing all the infield and squeeze into center field. That could still maybe the avenue that keeps an Acuna around. We shall see. I still don't know the role of a Mark Vientos. I know everyone can debate me on this because, again, no matter what they have, they still have a spot that could be between DH and first base. Have them go between. Even if Polanco is mostly first base. Again, if you kind of switch him in and out with Mark Vientos, maybe they can make it work. We shall see. I still think they might want to rest a couple of guys throughout the year by putting them at DH here and there. So we'll find out soon. But that's my immediate initial responses, reactions to everything. Again, sad about losing one of my long-term favorite guys from back in the day. Always excited about having the newest player to hug. We shall see where he ends up. Again, 17, turning age 18. To be honest with everybody, maybe because of those projections, 6'3", as big and tall as he is, I don't know if that'll squeeze him in and take him stateside at the complex. We shall see. As soon as we can get reports on that, that'll be awesome. I don't know if he'll be repeating the Summer League at this point, the DSL. We'll find out. I'll find out. I'll provide all the information as it comes throughout the season. And even at the end of the offseason, please continue to support me, support the channel. Please subscribe, like, comment. I'm getting so much closer to kind of making this more of a reality for me. Some of my dreams and goals are being set at the 11th hour of the year. Before the year ends, I'm hoping to finish off some of my goals about my channel and monetization. With your help, I can get there, guys. I'll see you next time.